So I finally put together a collection of 5 fragrances that are green, that are my favorite for the spring. It took me a while because I looked at my collection and I was like, I don't have that many green fragrances, but I have picked up a few, went through my decants that I wear, and I was just like, okay, actually I do. But with that said, today we're going to be going over 5 of my favorite green fragrances for the spring. So without further ado, let's get it. What's going on, my great smelling dudes? Welcome back to my channel. My name is Randy, aka Fragrance Dude, back with another spring list. Again, I told you I was going to be doing a few spring lists, all the way working into my top 10 spring fragrances of all time. And so this is going to be one of the last ones. I already did my blues, I believe. I did my top 5 sweet ones. And so today I'm going to be doing my top 5 green fragrances that are in my collection, and then working into, again, in a week or so, I'm going to be doing top 10 spring fragrances. With that said, make sure to like, comment, subscribe, hit the bell, and then if you could, follow me on Instagram and TikTok so that we can get straight into this, starting with a runner-up here. And so I wanted to put this in there because there is a green tinge to this, but because it's not fully a green fragrance, I didn't really want to put it in this list. But by Paul Gaultier, this is L'HOMME Eau Fraiche. Sorry about the birds in the background. I'm outside. Obviously, my house is under renovations. But again, this is L'HOMME Eau Fraiche. L'HOMME Eau Fraiche is going to be, it has mint in it, yes. So the mint is what provides that green edge. But what this fragrance really is focusing on mostly is ISOE Super, as well as a nice helping of neroli and some sweetness, some vanilla, some tonka, some sandalwood. Put that all together and you have yourself a nice, sweet, semi-green aromatic fragrance that is great for the spring and summer, especially in the spring. That is L'HOMME Andre Edition, L'HOMME Eau Fraiche Andre Edition. This one is the best of the 3 character bottles because it does have the extra helping of the ISOE Super, and it is the more masculine of the 3. So again, this one adds a nice mint neroli mixture mixed together with that vanilla tonka sandalwood mix that gives it a nice creamy backbone. And then you have, obviously, the ISOE Super that's pushing it out, allowing this to last about 8 to 10 hours on your skin. Really nice. That's just a runner-up. Going into the next one. So this is starting the list of my top 5. I don't go in any order, but if I had to, I'll let you guys know. In my next video, they will go 10 to 1. So this one is obviously, it's not necessarily known, like if you look on Fragrantica and stuff like that, it's not a green centric fragrance, but if you guys have smelled this before, you know it is. By Armani, this is Acqua di Gio Profondo Lights. So Profondo Lights is a take on the DNA, and it's actually one of my favorite in the line. Right below Absolute, I think it is my number 2 in the line. This is my favorite one to wear during the spring. In the opening, you get those C notes with that green mandarin that provides a nice green edge to it. And then obviously, as you get further into the fragrance, you get those herbal quality notes that you get also in Profondo, because this is a flanker of Profondo. And so you get that rosemary, that cypress. There was cardamom in this, I believe, that is not necessarily too heavy, but it's just another thing that's adding a slight green edge to it. And then balsam fir. This is going to be a woody herbal take on the DNA. And then you extend, so you have that essentially a nice green tinge on the original Profondo. So if you like green fragrances and you like Profondo, it is a nice twist on it. So that's the best way to put it. If you want to take that Acqua di Gio Profondo and then give it a more herbally green edge to it and a little bit more woody, that is what you have with Profondo Lights. It's fantastic for the spring. Lasts you about 6 hours, maybe a little bit less. It is the lightest of the ones I've tried from the bunch. But with that said, it's going to be a moderate projector for the first 4 hours. It's an Armani, so it's going to get you good wears. My wife really, really likes this. If you're looking for a really nice, mass appealing, not necessarily polarizing green scent for the spring, then go with Acqua di Gio Profondo Lights. And it is still, even though it is discontinued, you can still find it. I still have it in my Sephora and Kohl's. You can also buy it on Kohl's Sephora online. So definitely go pick that up if you can, if you have any coupons that come in the mail, stuff like that. Going into the next one. This one was one that I was back and forth on. I disliked it when I first tried it because it is a very polarizing green scent. This is not going to be for everybody, but I ended up loving it once I tried it out. I received this from one of my subscribers, and I've worn it about 6 times now. It's my favorite Amouage at this point in time. It is Amouage Beach Hut Man. So, Amouage Beach Hut Man is going to be super green. It's not what you would think about like a beach hut. Like, it's not like a huge coconut sweet beach hut like pina colada, stuff like that. This is a green, minty, soapy bomb. It also has this ivy in there that you can really smell. That really is just a green herbaceousness that you get throughout the entire fragrance. My favorite part of this fragrance is after the polarizing opening. So in the opening, you get a lot of mint and a lot of this ivy that provide a really heavy green herbaceousness, almost like an oregano. And again, it's a very unique take on the line, on the that style of green DNA. It's super polarizing. It's not going to be something that right when you smell it, you're going to be like, oh yeah, I love that. Most people, it's going to take some time, especially for me. But then once you get further into the dry down, that's where it really sits in nicely. Because that green herbaceousness, it never really leaves the fragrance. It just plays a nice role while mixing in with a nice sweet floral with that orange blossom that comes in. You get some moss that comes in as well to provide even more of a greenish tone with like a little bit of a smoky nuance. And then you get some woods. The fragrance is kind of linear from the opening to the dry down. Outside of that polarization that you get, it's not as polarizing the further that you get into the fragrance. But then after about an hour, it's more of a green and then sparkly vetiver. The vetiver comes in and it provides almost a subtle sweet and smokiness that you put together with that semi-slight woods and then that green tinge. And then that's what you have for the rest of the fragrance. Again, that's my favorite part of it, but I do love the whole fragrance. It is a great niche quality, so really high level, polarizing, unique style green fragrance. And if you want to see what that smells like without going out and getting yourself a decant or blind buying an expensive bottle, go try out Chrome Parfum. The opening of that gives you just a vibe of what Beach Hut Man is about. It doesn't smell exactly like it. It just can let you know that polarizing green note is very similar in the Chrome Parfum opening. But anyway, so that is Amouage Beach Hut Man. Going into the next one. So this one I am just about out. And I'm waiting until the prices go back down because this entire brand took all of their fragrances off of discounters. If you guys haven't heard, and I don't know if they're planning to put them back on there. There is a website that still sells it, but it's out of stock right now for decent prices. But this is one of my favorite green fragrances, even though it's not like a full green. It's not known as a full green fragrance. It says it in the name. It is Parfums de Marly Greenley. So Parfums de Marly Greenley, it is really a green apple soapy style fragrance. And that's where that green really comes from, is the green apple. I like to say this is almost like if you took a really nice synthetic green apple fragrance note, dialed it to 100, and then mixed it with like green Irish Spring soap. That is what this fragrance really reminds me of. That's really, really good. I love it. I love this fragrance. I didn't love it as much when I first got it. I preferred Sedley and Percival, but back then I was kind of a newbie to the game. But I can say that Greenley, once you get the hang of the fragrance, especially in the spring, I wouldn't wear it outside the spring, maybe early summer, but spring is really where it hits its stride. Because, again, you get that heavy green apple in the opening, the soapy nuances. I believe you get like a bergamot orange mixture underneath there as well, like a mandarin orange. Then you have cedar floating through the entire fragrance. So it kind of starts out just like a really heavy apple with a little bit of a citrusy undertone. Then it turns into more of a woody apple, where you get that cedar, and then you also get that apple and the soapy nuances underneath. And then when you get further into the fragrance, you get some amberwood mixing in, which gives it like a sweet woods, which then it becomes like a kind of a sweet and apple mixture with a woody, soapy undertone. That is the fragrance in a nutshell. If you want to have something that's green, but it's more green from the green apple than anything. And then there's also green mandarin, I believe. That is Parfums de Marly Greenley. It's fantastic. Again, it doesn't have any full green, like herbaceous style notes really in it. It's just whenever you smell it, you can say, okay, that's a good name for a Greenley, because it does have that green edge throughout the entire fragrance from the green apple, and I believe there's some other things in there, and then those woody aromatics underneath it. So now we're going into the fourth one. I can tell you the next two are going to be my favorite green fragrances as far as uniqueness, and they both actually are very, very similar. So this one I got from Mike from I Smell. I haven't worn it very much because he sent it to me at the end of spring last year, maybe early summer. So I haven't worn it during the season. I wanted to wait until spring. This is Lolita Lempika Green Lover. So he has me this decant. I probably wore it 3 or 4 times, but I love it. And I know you guys can say, how can that be one of your favorites if you only worn it 3 or 4 times? Well, again, because I only wore it last spring, and then I sprayed it again on my skin, and I wore it yesterday, and I was just like, yeah, this is good. So picture like an orange creamsicle, and then with like orange and mint, and mix that together with a nice, or orange and mint, orange and vanilla, and mix that together with a nice mint. You get some powdery undertones from it, but I'm gonna spray that on my wrist right now. Actually, smell that. Yeah, oh, that's stinging the nose. There's some pepper in the opening too, just an FYI. So in the opening, you get that green mandarin that comes in, gives it that green edge to it. You also do get some juniper in this fragrance that provides a slight green and fruity backbone. And then again, you get this like vanilla that comes in. So it's like a green mandarin creamsicle, so like an orange creamsicle, if you mix it together with those green edges. Again, a little bit of this mint, a little bit of this green from the green mandarin, and it's fantastic. It's musky in the background, but it's the best way to put it. It's like a nice balance of green and sweet. If you like orange creamsicles and the smell of them, mix that together with a little bit of a green backbone. This fragrance lasts about 5 to 6 hours. It's not a heavy projector. It's in the realm of something like Edition Blanche as far as the type of fragrance it is, with that nice balance of sweet and fresh. Again, this is going to be great for the spring season. Lolita Lempika Green Lover. Thank you to Mike. Make sure you go follow him over at I Smell, and you definitely should try that out. And now we're going to move into my favorite. Well, these two are really hand in hand. It depends on what kind of mood I'm in. If I'm in the sweeter mood, even though both of these are sweet and green, I prefer to go with Lolita. But if I'm looking for something more unique, then I'm going to go with this. I just got a bottle of it for my birthday. And so this is by Imaginary Authors. It is Saint Julep. So it tells you the notes on the back. Imaginary Authors has a whole story that goes along with this. Saint Julep, I'm just going to tell you what I know about the story is that back in the day, whenever there was wars going on, there was a group of people who didn't want to take any part in that. They wanted to be neutral. And so they built this kind of movable church where they were able to carry it, and they got like hundreds of people to go around the church. They built it, and then they moved it into this mint field. And they would have bourbon and dancing and stuff like that, and then they would put the sugar cubes in their bourbon. And so they made a fragrance mixed around that, which this is going to be a sweet mint mixed with tangerine. It gives it like a little bit of an orange citrusy vibe. And then it's mostly sweet mint sugar cube, which is just provides like a sweetness. You can't really have a sugar cube. It's a sugar cube accord. And then vanilla. And then you have a little bit of a boozy undertone to it. Just like you get in Lolita Lempika, you get some gin in there, but it's not too prominent. In this one, the bourbon's not too prominent, but it's sweet, it's green, it is mint. It's like it says, it's a sweet mint mixed with vanilla with some undertoning nuances of this and this and this. My favorite part of this, again, is the dry down. As you get further into the dry down, you get a little bit more of the bourbon and some woods. You also get some tangerine, again, floating in. You get that in the opening, but in the opening, that mint comes through very right in your face. And so if you want something unique, this is my favorite. And I'm just going to give you a little bit of a heads up. This is going to be in the top 3 at least of my top 10 spring fragrances. This fragrance is absolutely amazing. I got sent a decan of it from the actual company and the perfumer himself, but with that said, I forgot to take the plastic cap out of it. That's why it was hard to get the cap off. But so those are my 5, technically 6. But if you want to know my opinion on my most worn, at least going to be this spring, Lolita, Lempika, Green Lover, and Saint Julep. As far as green fragrances or spring fragrances altogether, these are probably going to be my most worn. So I'll be picking up a bottle of Green Lover probably in the next month because I'll be wearing it so much. But yeah, try out Saint Julep as well. This house is fantastic. Nice little indie house that has some great fragrances, especially Saint Julep, Falling into the Sea. Sun Drunk is a nice rhubarb one. Oh Unknown is a T1. Memoirs of a Trespasser is a nice kind of like old book mixed with vanilla. Really good. But yeah, let me know some of your favorite green fragrances. I could have put Cologne Intense in here, Cologne Cedrat, stuff like that, but I left them out. So it is what it is. They might be in my top 10. We'll see. But thank you guys so much. Thanks for tuning in. Make sure to like, comment, subscribe, and I'll be back with another one. Peace out.